What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team, stand up! CRIME-REACTs back at it again. Woman discovers her grandfather's horrifying secret. You guys know what I'm about to say, man. Same old type of vid, just a different vid in a different day. If you out there doing that dirt, man, stop while you ahead. This technology continues to increase. You're only screwing yourself over at the end, bro, by not stopping. You're disrespecting me by not stopping doing that dirt. Some of y'all promised that you was going to stop 2 weeks ago. And then here you are on Tuesday, still doing the same shit. It's only a matter of time, man. Come on, man. Do right, find you something legal, and keep it pushing. They after y'all. They coming. They not showing no mercy. When you get caught, everybody will forget about you. Your girl will leave you. And life will keep moving on, man. Come on. Think smart right now so you live better tomorrow. Dr. Insanity again. Let's straight out.
Ivan, step out here.
You got a warrant for your arrest. Yeah, so it's for murder charges.
Police believe she was entangled in a deadly love triangle prior to her murder. But over the course of the next several months, this cold case would turn out to be far more complicated and even more disturbing than they could have ever imagined.
Me and her broke up. She moved in with a guy, and he tried to mess with her.
And all I know is his first name's Sam. So he told her it was a bad deal with him. Because he's telling me if the cops get behind him, he's going to run into a tree.
166, be advised. It's their grandfather in the car, and he called them saying that he's possibly
Emoji only mode, man. It's so peaceful, bruh. Holy. Yo, you trolls can't do nothing tonight, huh?
On February 13th, 2023, Eluding Gowan was seen leaving her longtime job at Sugar's Diner. She had just told her daughter over a text message that she was on her way to pick up some things from her friend Mike, who she had recently moved in with after breaking up with her ex-boyfriend, Sam Bremer, only a week earlier. Strangely, she would specify that who she had recently moved in with. She was on her way to pick up some things from her friend Mike, who she had recently moved in with after breaking up with her ex-boyfriend, Sam Bremer, only a week earlier.
Okay. This one is more for the ladies on this term. It can also apply to dudes too. But, I mean, you guys heard that time frame. Now, I understand everybody deserves to have love out there and shit like that. But, bro, for you to break up with somebody a week prior and then already be moving into another dude's place, like a week later after that, I mean, that's just the definition of moving on too fast. And then nonetheless, bro, like, you just, it don't matter what type of chemistry you guys cracked off on the first date, bro. Like, nobody is that special for you to have to move in that fast after leaving your last relationship. That just, you're setting yourself up for all types of disaster to happen. Like, let's say even if, like, the new person that you're with doesn't turn out to be a weirdo, like, your ex definitely is going to be feeling some type of way and definitely going to be trying to be on some crash out shit or, you know what I'm saying, all types of shit like that. That's not even enough time to make sure that, like, they're going to be out of your life where they're not going to be able to, like, try to stalk you and not know of your whereabouts and stuff like that. It's just, like, too soon. You're dragging on a lot of that drama into, like, the next relationship inside their household and all that types. It's just, like, it's just a recipe for disaster.
Strangely, she would specify that her co-worker at Sugar's Diner would be the one to drive her there. However, as Eileen left her workplace, no co-worker would show up. Instead, strangely, her ex-boyfriend Sam would be the one to pick her up. Hours would go by, but Eileen would never show back up to Sugar's. The owner of the restaurant, Megan, would begin worrying as to where Eileen could have gone and started frantically sending her messages asking for her whereabouts. But oddly, she would receive a single message back saying, "Leave me alone, I'm done." This was very strange coming from Eileen, as she almost never texted, usually resorting to phone calls, and was often extremely responsible. Something strange was going on. The day would go by, and Eileen would never be seen. The following day, Eileen's daughter would file a missing persons report for Eileen to the Council of Bluffs Police Department, and an investigation began. Detectives would begin collecting CCTV footage from everywhere in the town to try and fully
that's all I was gonna
document
say.
where
Somebody in the chat said it. It's obvious like whoever she's with, he sent that and not her.
Eileen went the day of her disappearance. But this would be quite the lengthy process. So without anything to go by, police would start asking her family and friends. Apparently, after leaving her ex-boyfriend, Sam Bremer, a week earlier, she had stayed with her new friend, Mike Brockman, a man her family claimed had likely assaulted her the night before she disappeared. This shined a suspicious light on both of the men she was involved with, so police would bring in both Sam and Mike for interrogation and see if they could find any leads. Mike was a friend of Eileen's who met her at Sugar's and became very close over time. It was still unclear to officers what happened to Eileen. At this point, for all they know, she could have just gone MIA and taken a break from her stressful life. However, if anyone would have the clues as to where she went, it would be Mike.
So, basically, as you know, I talked to you on Monday. Or Wednesday, I guess, was the first day I talked to you. I had received information from some of the family that you and Eileen were possibly in a relationship, or kind of sort of, she maybe lived with you for a few days or a week or so. But if you could just kind of go before Monday, just kind of tell us how you guys know each other, how she ended up out there at your place, that kind of thing, and then we'll kind of move from there.
She was a waitress at Sugar's, and I knew her from in there, and I talked to her before and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she told me, I don't know, it was like on Tuesday or Wednesday night, that she got kicked out and she needed a place to stay. I said, well, you can stay at my place for a couple days. When it was Friday, she called me and she said, I won't be coming back. She says, we're getting back together, her and her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And all I know is his first name's Sam. I don't know anything else about him.
Okay.
And so I didn't see her. And then she called me crying on that Saturday night, and she says, oh, we got into it, can I come out for a day? I said, you can come back out, but you gotta be gone Monday, because I can't have this, I'm single, I don't want anything.
I was just about to say, I don't even know, like, and this goes on all the time, bro. How the hell do people have the energy to, like, even, like, if somebody's in a relationship and they live together with a certain other person, bro, that's like the worst thing you can do is just offer a place for them to stay, bro. Because what's going to end up happening is that they break up again, you're going to be the first person that they call. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be expecting you to say yes. They're going to be expecting you to, you know what I'm saying, like cater to them and shit like that. Like
this going on.
Two initial thoughts can be made upon hearing Mike's story. On one hand, it seems like Sam was back together with Eileen, so Sam would be a much stronger person of interest, as he'd likely been the last person to see her. On the other hand, Mike may have had a deep connection with Eileen, meaning if he learned she got back with her ex-boyfriend just days after moving in with him, he could have played a sinister role in her disappearance. But detectives plan to let Mike tell his side of the story before confronting him about the suspicious relationship.
So I took her to work Monday morning. I'd been a week ago yesterday. Dropped her off at 5 a.m. And she was supposed to get off at, I don't know, she said 7 or 8. Her daughter was gonna pick her up. She's gonna go to her mom's and get her safe and take to her daughter's. And then she was supposed to come back to work at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, then I get a phone call from the bar saying, hey, have you seen her? And I said, I haven't seen her, I haven't talked to her, nothing. Oh, she didn't show up for work, she didn't show up. I said, I haven't heard anything. And I tried to contact her and couldn't get a hold of her. So I sent her a text message and I said, all your stuff that's bagged up is gonna be sitting behind the bar. You gotta get it, I want it out of here. I don't wanna mess with any more of this. And I never, since 5 o'clock that Monday morning, I'd never had any contact with her, phone, text, or anything. And then I didn't know anything till right before you called me that she'd come up missing.
Mike would go on to claim that he never had any sexual relationship with Eileen and that she stayed in a completely different room to him while living in his house. However, detectives know more about Mike than he thinks, and with some information Eileen's close friends shared with them, they don't believe he and Eileen were just friends.
Has anybody said anything to you that Eileen was saying anything about you? Have you heard anything about her making any statements about you and your behavior while she lived or was staying with you out there?
No.
So you haven't heard that she may have made a statement that you possibly assaulted her while she was out there?
No.
Okay. That statement was made to a couple people that you supposedly laid down on her bed with her and spooned her from behind. Is that?
No.
Can you tell me, is that any of that accurate? Any of those statements?
I would not do that because, like I said, she was a loose cannon. And she's scared.
I mean, I guess here's the deal. You're a grown man. She's a grown woman. You know, if there was any type of whatever contact between you that was consensual, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I mean, she was crying that first night she come out and I hugged her.
Okay.
But there was no relationship, no asking for it or anything.
This information is, well, concerning.
All he said is that, like, he basically got a hug.
Unlike
Y'all believe in that?
Blatant lies of this magnitude. However, with little to no evidence, other than a few rumors coming from her friends, police can't harp over these allegations and decide to wrap Mike's questioning up. At this point, Mike is still considered to have potential involvement in Eileen's disappearance, but with a lack of leads, they direct their attention to the only other potential suspect, Eileen's ex-boyfriend, Sam Bremer.
You already met Detective Dyer?
Yeah, we get first names.
Yeah, this is Detective Dyer. I'm the sergeant that you talked to on the phone. My name's Ted Roberts. I'm a sergeant.
You know, when I got on the phone with you, and you said that I was the last person to see her alive.
I didn't say that.
Yep.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you sure did.
I said you were the last person that saw her before she went missing.
Sam wasted no time adding more suspicion onto his name. The phone recording shows that the detective never mentioned Sam being the last to see Eileen alive. Eileen has been missing for less than 48 hours at this point, so the fact that he's already alluding to the idea that she's dead is awfully disturbing. But this would only mark the beginning of Sam's unsettling choice of words during the interview.
As you said that, I got on the phone, I said, I want them to arrest me so I can have a lawyer.
No. Yeah, that's I think you misheard me there. I got it recorded. I'll have to go back and listen to it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not what I said. But I mean, basically, we got a crazy deal here where, Eileen is evidently, her family and everything else, she's never done this kind of thing before. She's never just, took off and gone. They all know
What she does is she comes to me, she's moved him with me 4 or 5 times. But usually when she moves him with me, she stays away from home.
Yeah, because they said that they talk every day. The daughter and her talk every day on the phone or whatever she says. Yeah.
If they need something, then they'll get hold of her.
Okay.
Just like when she got arrested for DWI, she went to jail, they finally bailed her off. What did they do? They took her and dropped her off at the bar.
Okay.
And she was homeless.
Okay. If you could, I just need to know what went on Monday morning. What happened Monday morning with you?
She texted me.
Okay.
And wanted to know if I would come and get her, because one of her friends supposedly was supposed to come and get her, and supposedly ran out of gas. So
did she tell you the friend's name or? Okay.
So I got there, and I said, I'll be there in a minute. She goes, don't come inside. I don't want Megan to know that we're back, or you're with me. I said, okay. And I pulled up, she gets in the truck. We take off, run out to this, supposedly the one that tried to do something with her, and drops her off there. Then I left. And then wasn't too long after that is when she called me. I think she was at my house knocking. See, you can't get in my apartment building unless you have a key to get in. But I think she was knocking on my window. I didn't look, I didn't care. I just wanted to lay down, take a nap. That's when she texted me, wanted to know if I could talk to Emmy about letting her move back in because this guy, now that's true.
When?
This guy, now that's true.
When?
That night.
The night before Monday?
The night before Monday, yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if that was true or not. I don't know if she was just saying that to get me to take her back or what. I don't know.
This statement adds more weight to Eileen's allegations towards Mike. If Mike did do these things to Eileen, then moving out and staying with Sam would be completely logical. On top of his statement, what Sam is about to reveal to detectives will make the allegations much harder to dismiss and place all the suspicion back on Mike.
She says, please talk to Emmy, see if I can come back home. He told me last night, Sam, I love you, I promise I'll quit drinking. Please give me another chance. Then she says, I'm hanging out with her, and this was at 122.
What's it say?
And it says here, I'm hanging out with a friend, I will get a hold of you later. I'm not going to work. I'm not going back to work.
Back at 2, right?
I think 2 or 3.
Yeah, okay.
I can't remember.
Okay.
And then to go to work, go back there, they treat me like shit. And then she says, you've seen it. They have. I mean, but I can't say nothing. And then and I said, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me this earlier when I was talking to you? You're drunk. You're drunk, ain't you? Be honest.
A lot of texting back
That's
and
why
forth.
I can't do this no more. Please, do not call me no more, text me no more. I'll be friends with you at work. And that's where she got pissed off. Said, you.
Based on these texts, it really seems like Eileen's disappearance was just a way for her to take a break from her traumatic life. If the allegations are true and her ex-boyfriend refused to give her a place to stay, well, then running away for the time being is completely reasonable. Sam's story seems solid so far, but there's one tiny detail that just doesn't quite add up. And this detective has just picked up on it.
What is
You
it?
said you dropped her off in front of Mike's house.
Yeah.
And you watched her walk into the...
All she did was she got out and then she walked in front of the truck. And she walked in front of the truck. I went up and turned around and that's when I left.
Okay, so you didn't see her get in the house, anything like that? So if she had walked away from there, I mean, that's quite a ways away from your apartment complex. I wonder how she would have gotten to you.
I told you her friend was supposed to come and pick her up.
Sam claims the day of Eileen's disappearance, he drove her from her workplace at Sugar's Diner over to Mike's house to get her belongings. After that, he drove off, assuming she was to be picked up by one of her friends. Fortunately, police can easily cross-reference these claims using surveillance footage. At this point, the majority of the CCTV camera footage has been obtained from the day of Eileen's disappearance, so detectives quickly wrapped up Sam's interview so that they could further investigate his claims. Additionally, the detective would apologize for assuming Sam's earlier word choice was suspicious. After nearly 48 hours of compiling the surveillance footage from around the town, officers managed to put together a complete
6-7
timeline
different angles.
of Sam and Eileen's car ride. At 8:30 a.m. on February 13th, Eileen would patiently wait at her work, Sugar's, for Sam to pick her up. Eileen needed a ride to go and purchase a new apartment, since Mike had kicked her out. She would tell her boss and daughter that a friend was picking her up because she didn't want anyone to know her and Sam were back together. Eileen and Sam would first drive to her mother's apartment, Dudley Courts. She would be seen carrying a suitcase-like object out from her mother's apartment, then leaving with it. This would turn out to be a safe containing $1,200, which she had planned to use as a down payment for an apartment.
Wow.
At 9:30 a.m., they would drive directly to the Sherwood apartment complex to purchase the apartment. However, the complex happened to be closed, so they were unable to purchase anything. This is where the timeline starts to deter from Sam's claims in the interrogation room. From 9:45 to 10:30 a.m., Sam's car can be seen driving all across town. He went in multiple circles and even made a quick stop to Burger King at 10:30. However, he never drove Eileen to Mike's house like he had claimed. In fact, Sam's car can be seen driving in the opposite direction to Mike's house the entire morning. This is concerning, but it would only get worse. For the next 2 hours, Sam's truck goes off the grid. It's completely unknown where he went, and no CCTV cameras had managed to capture his location. Luckily, at 1 p.m., his truck would appear back on the same streets he circled on for hours that morning, and eventually, he would make his way back to his own home at the Cottonwood.
Bro, left opinion, by the way, bro. Stop doing dirt out there, bro. Like, the fact that they can just get just random street highway footage like this, man. You out there moving wrong, man. Stop while you ahead, bro.
Apartment complex, but things were different.
Yeah, they got 3 different angles on this highway before you actually get on the highway and shit. Like,
all the recordings past 1 p.m. Eileen was no longer with Sam. Cameras had clearly captured that Sam was nowhere near Mike's house the entire day, so why would he feel the need to lie about where he dropped Eileen off? This footage paints Sam out to look awfully suspicious. And while both Sam and Mike have some strong dirt to their name, Sam's clear lies convince officers to bring him back to the station the very next day, this time to confront him on his false alibis. Unbeknownst to detectives, this very interview would spark a months-long game of cat and mouse involving a high-speed pursuit, unsettling clues, and a chilling discovery. But before we get to that, let me tell you about today's sponsor, ShipStation. Every bit you lose your ship said, let's get at ShipStation.com, code insanity. With that said, let's get back to Sam Bremer, who had just been brought back to the interrogation room to explain the inconsistencies in his alibi.
The other day when we were in here, you told me that you got a phone call from her and you went to pick her up from her. So if you can do me a favor and just kind of go through that timeline again. We know that it was somewhere right around at 8:30. So if you can just kind of go through that timeline again as far as...
I'm not too sure on the time.
Okay.
But anyway, she texted me that morning, and I didn't text her back. I called her, and she wanted to know if I would come and get her, because some girl was supposed to pick her up, and she ran out of gas. So I went and picked her up, and she got in the truck. I left, and she wanted to talk to me about helping her get in the apartment, because she lived in the same apartment building I did, but she didn't pay her rent, so she got kicked out. So, but she didn't want to go home right away. So me and her just went right down Broadway, and then she wanted to stop at her mom's house. I stopped at her mom's house, and she was in there for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. She come out there, got back in, and then we was going back down Broadway, just talking some more. And she promised me, she wanted me to drop her back off at his house. But she made me to promise I wouldn't do nothing to him, and I told her I promised. As a matter of fact, when we get there, we just get out, you walk in front of the truck, I'll turn around and I'll leave. And she says, okay.
Okay, so you went up there, you dropped her off, then what'd you do?
And as soon as I pulled up, and she didn't want me to go in the driveway in case he was there.
Okay.
And she got out of the truck. When she got out of the truck, she walked in front of the truck, and that's when I went straight, turned around, and came back.
Okay.
And I hit straight home.
So you went back down to the highway, went back down to Kingsville?
You left her there?
Huh?
You left her there?
Yeah.
Or you...
No, she got out of the truck. She didn't want me to come in.
Just a second ago, you said she went in, grabbed clothes, came back out to your truck, and you guys left again.
No. That was at her mom's house.
Clearly, Sam is lying about where he was the day of Eileen's disappearance. The detectives know it, and it seems like Sam is starting to realize he won't be able to keep up his fake story for much longer. Even after being told that cameras show him nowhere near Mike's house the entire day, Sam insists on his story that he did in fact drop Eileen off at Mike's house. With this, the detectives would take a brief break from the room to watch the footage over again, just to triple check that Sam is 100% lying. And to nobody's surprise, the footage showed Sam on the opposite side of town during the time he claims to have been at
once
Mike's.
again, bro, they just got these cameras on these damn highways, bro, just pinging your phone. fucking location.
Detectives return to the interview room. They'll use this information to try and get Sam to own up to his lies.
We got a small little snafu here we need to talk to you about, okay? So you said after you dropped her off out there off of Highway 191 at that residence, you headed back to your apartment. We checked some of our cameras, okay, and we have a camera at 36th and Broadway, and we have your truck going westbound at 9:28 a.m. going to Omaha, okay? With
exact time and everything.
Broadway heading west. So you didn't go home, you went over to Omaha, it looks like. Do you remember what you did or who you saw?
I don't remember going home.
Where'd you go?
I told you I went straight home. I don't remember going home.
Well, the camera doesn't lie. It's your truck and it's your license plate number.
Right.
Okay. At 36th and Broadway at 9:28 a.m. Going west toward 480. And then 1 hour later,
it would have been funnier in his room when he's explaining this shit. Shout out to Top Rise with a gifted tier. It would have been funny if the room they're explaining this and they had like some type of monitor behind him while he's talking, and he's sitting up there saying, "Oh no, I never went to Omaha," and then you see in the background while he's talking in the same room, they have the CCTV footage and shit. Like, bro, they would have got his whole reaction right there. That would have been gold. Like, bro, you just said you wasn't in Omaha.
Coming back into Council Bluffs. 1 hour later.
No, we're going home.
Where'd you go?
I went straight home.
Sam is stuck at this point. No matter what information detectives
See how
reveal,
he gets out of this
he will
one.
not admit to anything. At this point in the interview, all Sam has left is to simply reject everything the detectives tell him. They know Sam isn't telling the truth, but why he's not telling the truth is what remains to be seen. However, with Sam seemingly uncooperative, all detectives can do is end the interview and let Sam back onto the streets, until more concrete evidence can prove he had more to do with Eileen's disappearance than he claims. But fortunately, letting Sam back onto the streets would lead them to the exact evidence that they were looking for.
What's that?
While law enforcement was working away at this case, another investigative group would be working in the dark. Eileen's family. Everyone held hope that Eileen was still alive, but with time passing, her family was demanding answers. Sam and Eileen had a long history of arguments, physical assault, and much more that the family was well aware of.
Toxic
They
relationship.
knew Sam had more information about Eileen's whereabouts than he had told them. So, to figure this out for themselves, Eileen's son, Jack, would show up to Sam's door that same night, and he would pound on the door, and upon opening, Jack would ask the simple question, "What the hell did you do to my mom?" In Jack's words, Sam stared at him as if he had seen a ghost and then shut the door in his face.
Hell nah.
Sam panicked. Whatever he did to Eileen, people were starting to catch up.
Hell nah, bro. Nigga, imagine if that was your mom and you go impress a dude that whoever your mom is dating, what'd you do to my mom? And buddy just stares at you and slams the door, bro. Nigga, I'm punching a hole through that damn door. Nigga, I'm storming in through that bitch, bro. Man, this dude Sam looking guilty, bro. I wouldn't have been able to just leave, bro. Like, you not saying a word and slamming the door in my face? Like, nah, bro. I would have just had, bro.
Later that night, Sam would talk to his granddaughter, Emily, and would claim that he was going to harm himself so that he could go visit her deceased grandmother. This shocked Emily, as in her eyes, Eileen was still alive. Quickly, she would call 911 to report everything Sam had just told her, and shortly thereafter, police would locate a drunken Sam at his local bar.
Hi, sir. How are you? Good. Is this your vehicle?
Yes.
Hey, can I just talk to you real quick?
Yeah.
Do you have any weapons or anything on here?
No.
Hey, we were called to check your welfare. Okay, I think you talked to your granddaughter earlier, and she was concerned about you, some of the statements that you made to her. I'm here for you, man. Tell me what's going on.
So it's a welfare check. 'Cause I was just gonna ask, is that like legally, like, are they even able to do that? Just pull up on you and just tell you to step out, but it's a welfare.
Why are you feeling the way you're feeling?
My girlfriend, it was like a week ago, me and her broke up. She moved in with a guy, and apparently he raped her.
What's his name?
The only thing I know, he goes by Mike. Me and her broke up. She didn't have a place to go. She moved in with him. She told me Friday he tried to.
We got a 50 gifted?
So
no, we
I
didn't.
called my son and see if she can move back in because she kicked us out. So I called my son and see if she can move back in with her. And then I went to his house, got her stuff, took her to my son's. And then the next morning we went to work and then she went right back to him. So I don't know.
So what comments did you make to your granddaughter that would be concerning this evening?
I just told her I'm going to go out and have a couple of drinks and love her. That's it.
And did you mention something about seeing Grandma tonight?
What's that?
Did you mention something about seeing Grandma tonight?
No.
I would like for you to talk to somebody tonight. I would like for you to talk to a medical professional. Okay? I don't want to have to drag you up to the hospital, but I most certainly will. I think based off of what the granddaughter has told us tonight and kind of the...
Oh, she call you?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
No. Yeah, so...
Man said, oh, shit.
She was crying when we went and talked to her. She's...
Oh, really?
Yes. She was very emotional.
Her best friend and aunt are currently at the apartment because of what you said.
Wow.
Based off of what they've told me tonight, I'm going to give you one of two options. You can go up willingly and talk to a medical professional tonight.
Okay.
Or I can take you up there and you'll stay there for 72 hours. Okay?
I can't have my granddaughter come get me?
No. Based off of what you've told us and what's going on in your life right now,
Yeah.
you need to talk to somebody. I don't think that we will be doing our due diligence to do our job to make sure that you're not going to hurt yourself based off of what's going on with you and your girlfriend.
Right.
Okay? You need to talk to somebody tonight. Okay? And so the best course of action is to go up to the hospital, your choice, to go to talk to somebody about it tonight.
Sam's mental state was clearly deteriorating. Whatever happened to Aline, regardless of his involvement, was really getting to him. Following this, Sam would be placed in a psychiatric facility for the next 2 days, where he would undergo therapy and psychiatric care.
Wow.
During these 2 days, detectives would aim to gather more intel on the case, this time by interviewing the family of Aline and Sam. They'd bring in both Justin Bremer, Sam's son, and Nicole Shipper, Aline's daughter, and both of them would reveal significant details crucial to solving the case.
Here we go.
Detective Zach Melner. I just want to get as much history as you can tell me or talk to me about when it comes to your mom. What was their relationship like over there?
Not a healthy one.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
He didn't like her drinking. He thought he could change her get her to stop drinking. I told him that he can't because she won't change for her kids. She's not going to change for a man.
Damn.
And he seemed to think that he could change her, so he kept trying with her. But there was things on his part and her part that were not healthy. They both had jealousy issues. He has a very short temper. Very short temper. Mm-hmm. And littlest things will set him off, and it's like ridiculous. When they were good, they were good. But when it was not, I was constantly in the middle of it because she's my mom and that's my boyfriend's dad. And
They were good when they weren't drinking, especially when she wasn't drinking. She'd bicker, she'd argue. They start arguing.
Sad, a lot of alcohol's involved, man.
They just escalate. Next day, they were fine. They go to bed angry.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever see it get physical?
No. Never seen it.
Wait, what happened in the chat? I didn't even pay attention.
He told me she grabbed him by her neck a couple times, but that was about it.
Appreciate it, Mods.
He grabbed her by the neck?
No, she grabbed him by the neck.
Oh, okay.
It seemed like Sam and Aline had a rocky relationship.
Trolling on a
but
Tuesday
it
night's
rarely
down
escalated
bad.
to the point of violence. And if the fights did turn violent, it was Aline doing the physical harm to Sam.
The week prior to last Monday, what was going on?
they were separated.
No love, Jay. What up?
She called me before she went missing, telling me how she don't want to get back with him because she's tired of him throwing her out for little reasons. And she's sick of not being able to have a stable home because he just gets so mad at the smallest things and just kicks her out.
Did Emily want her to go, or was it your dad that wanted him to go? Was it Sam?
My dad.
Okay.
You take her back, you kick her back out, you bring her back, kick her back out. So you need to stop. I mean, you guys need to just separate. So separate ways.
What up, C-Hill?
Sam's family strongly suggests that Eileen was in fact the troubled one in the relationship, and Sam tried over and over to cut her out of his life. This only perplexed detectives, and simply doesn't explain why Sam's been acting so strangely following Eileen's disappearance. 2 days after these interviews, Sam would be released from the psychiatric facility. Fortunately for Sam, no new leads had come out regarding Eileen's death, meaning he could finally have some peace for the first time in the last week. Or so it would seem.
What's gonna
Because
happen?
on February 21st, the same day Sam was released, he would go to Walmart to restock on alcohol. However, right as Sam was about to get in his...
Put down the liquor, man. It's just sad to see liquor and just drugs, alcohol, etc. just run people's lives, bro. Like you guys just sat up here and listened to like the people that knew Sam and Irene, how you say your name right, just literally described that their entire relationship and their lives are based around alcohol, them getting into arguments and abusing each other, this and that. And then you see over here this dude's going to cop some alcohol. Like, bro, like, come on, man. There's literally better things in life than revolving everything around liquor, dude. Like, whatever you're going through, bro, you can get through it, dog. You drinking is just going to give you a temporary escape for an hour or two, maybe 3 hours tops. Then you're going to feel like shit for damn near the day, rest of the day, be unproductive. Like, this is going to be a continuous cycle.
An off-duty officer spotted him and decided to ask some questions related to Eileen. Hesitantly, Sam asked to move his truck, and then he would talk to the officer.
A lot of these cops also was on this man's ass, like...
The moment he got into his car, Sam would slam on the pedal, nearly hitting the officer, and floor his truck down the road, flying...
Yeah, Sam's guilty, bro. You seen he almost ran over the officer in the Walmart. Something's going on, bro. Silent, what up?
The cop would jump in his car and begin chasing Sam, who would only pick up speed as he ramped up to over 100
we got a high-speed chase in the crime video.
Peaceful roads of Rexburg, Idaho.
He's eastbound on A. If that deputy's in the white top, he can light it up.
David, what up?
The chase continued for multiple minutes, but it became clear to officers that Sam had no plans of slowing down. So the chief officer radioed in to call the chase off.
Shut it down. I'm shutting it down.
Sam had just successfully run from the police, and while he was having the time of his life...
Okay, bro, like, now, I do know ahead of time that certain states, like, they do call off chases or something like that, so it's not a danger to the public, but you mean to tell me this guy has a suspicion of being responsible for a homicide of a lady? Okay, now, tell me if I'm reaching or not. I don't know if this is privilege, but he's being accused. Obviously, they don't have enough evidence or whatever of being involved in a homicide. They know that he has mental problems. He just got released from a mental facility, 72 hours ago or whatever. All right. They see him in Walmart, want to ask him questions. He almost runs over an officer. Just forget about the homicide suspicion case and the mental institution. He almost ran over an officer in a Walmart parking lot, and he just go ahead and just be like, oh, no, we're just going to call off the chase. Like, is there something I'm missing, or they have his Addy? I mean, that's true. I mean, I just didn't know personally you can just almost run over a cop, bro, in a parking lot and then just successfully get off of a 30 or 40 mile per hour chase. It's not like they was bucking on 150 on the highway. Like, public safety.
Life, this chase obviously made things much, much worse for Sam. Not only was he now highly suspected of murder, but is also wanted for evading arrest and reckless driving. A couple hours after his escape, he would simply return back to his apartment as if nothing had ever happened. Ironically, this would actually postpone Sam's arrest, as more officers assumed he would be hiding in a more clever place, and searched around the town instead of checking the Cottonwood apartments. In fact, the entire day would go by, and officers had no trace of where Sam could have gone.
And disclaimer before I speak, I'm not trying to like advocate to teach people how to get away from shit, but this dude Sam is not the brightest dude. You mean to tell me you go back to the same spot that they got your address on file, even though they didn't go over there to check first, they went and checked the areas around? You don't think of fleeing to another state or a different county? You just stay in the same area after you are, you know what I'm saying, under suspicion of being involved in a homicide, and you just tried to attempt to run over a cop in a parking lot and successfully escaped the chase. You stay in the same county and you go back to the address that they have on file, bro. That alcohol fried this man's brain cells, bro. I'm saying that.
But the fun would only last for a day, and the pressure must have gotten to Sam, as the next morning he would turn himself in to police.
That's probably what he planned on doing after he escaped that chase. He was like, "No, I know something. Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn myself in."
With eluding and reckless driving, and would be placed in the Pottawatomie County Jail. However, Sam would only spend one night in the county jail after being bailed out by Emily. So by the grace of a miracle, yet again, Sam Bremer was back on the streets.
Huh?
During this time, Sam would go to the bank and hand them a large stack of cash to deposit into his account. This wad of cash would come out to be approximately $1,200. The exact...
He's got to be guilty. If you don't remember in the beginning of this video, they talked about Irene had a suitcase with $1,200 that she was going to use on a down payment for the apartment. This looks suspicious.
Amount found in Eluden's safe that she had the day of her disappearance.
Right.
Additionally, Sam would drive his truck over to the scrapyard. He would ask to fully dispose of it, crushing it to pieces, and even shredding it after. To make sure this got done, Sam would meticulously watch the entire hour-long process, ensuring his car was turned to dust.
Guilty. Has to be.
It couldn't be more obvious that Sam had something to do with Eluden's
Purple
disappearance.
Kool-Aid, what up?
The lies to detectives, the disturbing comments to Emily, running from the cops, cashing in Eluden's safe money, and now shredding the only potential piece of evidence he had left. On top of all of that, detectives had looked into the claims involving Mike Brockman and discovered that Mike was at work all day at Omaha, Nebraska, nowhere near Sugar's Diner where Eluding was last seen. All of that leaves Ivan Sam Bremer as the final suspect. But with no direct evidence, all law enforcement could do is wait until new clues came their way.
It's crazy. They just like tiptoeing on this entire case.
What's the address for your emergency? I don't really have an address. We're off the exit of Crescent, Iowa, over by a public shooting area.
What's going on?
So
Pudgy,
we're
what
driving
up?
down the road to go shooting or whatever, and there is a dead body on the side of the road.
Male or female?
It's female for sure.
On February 26th, Eluden's body was found underneath a bridge just miles away from Sam's apartment.
Bro, that's just some sick-ass minded shit, bro. You just don't, bro.
Body was unrecognizable.
Plain view and everything, bro. Like, people have no remorse.
The clothes matched the exact
Rex,
outfit
what up?
Eluding was wearing the day she had disappeared. Someone had killed her. Medics would pronounce Eluding dead on the scene, and she would be taken to the hospital to get an autopsy done to determine her cause of death. But her results would come back strange. Eluding had 8 blunt force impacts to her head and a fractured front tooth. While gruesome, none of these injuries were sufficient to cause her to die, so her cause of death would be ruled as undetermined. Unfortunately for police, this meant they wouldn't be able to immediately charge Sam with murder. However, with all the sufficient evidence they'd gathered throughout the course of the investigation, they had enough to charge him with abuse of a corpse. Quickly, they'd receive an arrest warrant, and for the 4th time that month, officers would arrive at Sam's apartment, this time to finally seal his fate.
4 times, and then they finally arrest him.
Morning. We're looking for your grandfather. Is he here? Okay, just 1 second. Just go.
Man, they pulled up right when she got out the car.
Sam, right? He goes by Sam. Okay. Is there anybody else in there?
No, just him. He's sleeping.
Okay. Has he got any guns or anything like that? Okay. Well, he's got a warrant, so we need to talk to him. Just let that officer in. I'll be right there.
Ivan,
2 cats.
step out here. Show us your hand. No.
No.
Hey.
Okay. Come here. You got a warrant for your arrest. I'll let you smoke that if you just. No,
Bro,
you can smoke it. All right.
Is a cigarette that important, nigga?
All right.
Bro, his daughter or whatever just said he was sleeping. He wakes up and smokes a cigarette, bro. Man, y'all stay off them cigs, man. Cancer sticks.
Yeah. We'll get him. I'll put you. Huh?
What am I on arrest for?
I'll explain it here in a minute. All right.
Step second. Use of a corpse.
What the fuck?
Okay, Pot County. He'll be able to call you in a little bit. Thank you.
Sam's games had finally come to an end. Sam would eventually go to court for the murder of Eileen Gowan. Forensic pathologists would spend weeks investigating Eileen's death, and eventually, they would discover zipper marks on the neck of Eileen, signifying that she was strangled to death, likely by Bremer. This pile of circumstantial evidence seemed to be enough for the jury, and on November 17th, 2023, Ivan Samuel Bremer was charged with second-degree murder, abuse of a corpse, and theft. He was sentenced to 65 years in prison.
Justice is served, kind of, man. There's a couple of things I want to say, man. Now, I feel like this entire case, man, obviously they didn't have all the evidence that they need, but I feel like the cops kind of played and stalled out way too much, bro. All right, if you look at the whole timeline throughout everything, bro, this dude Sam, all right, he was already suspicious of having that homicide involved. All right, he was being questioned. They put him in a mental facility, bro. He was in a Walmart parking lot and nearly ran over a cop. Put them on a high-speed chase. Got off of that high-speed chase, went back to the same apartment Addy, you know what I'm saying, and everything that they had. This entire time, if Sam was, actually smart, you know what I'm saying, and he wasn't slow in the head, bro, he could have literally easily gotten away and fled the entire, state. They probably would have had a hard time finding him and everything. They just was, I feel like, in my opinion, was moving too slow about this, bro. And nonetheless, I also want to get onto this case with, Irene, if I'm saying her name. First of all, prayers to her family and everything like that, man. She put herself in this situation, you know what I'm saying, unfortunately, too. You know what I'm saying? She moved in with another man. They're already having alcoholic problems. They're abusive towards each other. They're having fights. It's all documented by their family members and stuff like that, man. All right? Bro, for her to just, basically go from Sam to the other dude, Mike, let's be honest and let's be adults here and transparent. You know what I'm saying? Mike was a shoulder to cry on. You know what I'm saying? Irene was just probably on some, Sam is just super abusive and he's just an alcoholic. He just told me he was just going to change and, crying on her shoulder, continuing, cry on his shoulder and stuff like that. So you already know, Mike is probably, piping those down, multiple times and stuff like that. You know, this Sam dude probably caught on. You know what I'm saying? Sam just if we're just being just transparent, Sam caught on that Irene was smashing Mike, you know what I'm saying, when she was going to her crib, staying over at his crib and shit like that. And then right when everything gets back normal, she runs right back to him. He sees all of this shit. So honestly, this dude Sam just straight up just lost it and snapped and got jealous and just fucking murdered her, bro. You know what I'm saying? This also goes for the guys out there, man. Y'all got to be careful in this situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, because this Mike dude could have lost his life too. You know what I'm saying? Sam could have full on crashed out and just been like, hey, why are you smashing my girl? Why are you trying to have a, you know what I'm saying, the shoulder to crown? Why are you trying to be like your guy best friend and stuff? Like, that could have been a whole dangerous situation too. This overall situation is just sad and everything, bro. And like, just goes to show you, bro, like, yo, if y'all in a relationship, bro, just don't be so quick to move in with somebody, bro. Because like, the minute one of y'all get in an argument, one of y'all is gonna be homeless. You know what I'm saying? And who are you going to sleep over? You know what I'm saying? Whose house you going to crash at? You know what I'm saying? And are you going to permanently stay broken up from the person that you moved in with? Because the moment you decide to go back, more arguments are going to start happening. One of y'all are going to start to be like, oh, I know for a fact you smashed so-and-so, you did this and that, you wasn't staying faithful, whatever, bro. It's just, come on, man. It's a common cycle, bro. Hey, man. Sad situation here, man. Y'all got to stay safe out there.